But in your primary branding, I think it's really important that we anchor in what is your vibration color, what is it that you're doing, and what do people want to attune to immediately when they see you? Are they going to be like purple, female, pastels, gentle, or am I going to be going back into the root, the red, the food, the physical stuff? Today is about introducing myself and my services with my intuitive graphic design. This is an aspect of me that has served me for a long time. I graduated from the Academy of Art University in 2003 with a degree in advertising design. And as an intuitive, it's hard for us to sell ourselves because we're sensitive souls, or we feel like being an intuitive or being a counsel or having a service that is in the healing arts is something that's sacred and that shouldn't be sold for profit. And that's true. There's certain things that energy should be responded to as giving energy, receiving energy, and in a way, giving somebody back currency or the dollar is helping them to live in their physical body. So I've really had to respond to my own inner voice, dealing with being of service in the intuitive business and finding a way to market that. And I'm not going to be scared to say it anymore because this is what I do. This is what I'm good at. And I'm integrating now my intuitive nature into my design and my business services and my business practice. And so I have a business called Untitled Design. It is basically bare roots, starting from scratch. I've got a little website up. You can check it out, and it just shows some of the graphics that I've done in the past. I'm still building this website and working on developing new services as I develop what exactly it is that I'm doing. So that's a little bit about me. My name is Eve. I am the creator of Rose Apple Sage. Rose Apple Sage is a platform that I use to express myself transparently with my experiences throughout my life as a mother, as a intuitive, and as a person in business or lack of business in this last 2020. So as for right now, I wanted to go over the basic word brand and what that feels like to you guys, and what that means in the marketing world, and what that means on cattle. If you're going to brand your cattle, you're going to stick a logo on it, and you're going to say, this cow is mine, and I'm going to rope it down and show you that by putting a mark on it. So branding in a non-violent to animals, because I love animals. That was maybe a bad analogy to start with, but it is a brand is a sufficient way to make a statement that's consistently branded to your products and services. Pretty general. It's called an icon, symbolism, branding. It's the graphic that identifies you. It's the graphic that identifies what you do. And it's really important that your identity, your brand identity, is true to who you are and how you want to communicate to people that are passing by your cow or your store or your online page. Whatever it is that you have to brand, you need to have a consistent statement that says who you are and can be recognized and become an icon, such as Coca-Cola, such as whatever, Starbucks I'm drinking today. And it's an icon that you can literally, like Starbucks, I'll just use them as an example, has minimized their design to her face because and to say their name. So their branding has shifted quite a bit, but it's the mermaid. with the crown and the star, and it's Seattle. So they've created a brand that's relative to where they started and who they are, and Starbucks. The next key point of basic branding element is to be recognizable, to be consistent, and to be the voice in a really quick flash so that people know who you are and are attracted to you or can identify you. It's like your name, your business name. Okay, so the second part that I wanted to talk about today was color. And this is something that I talked to with my niece. She's on right now. And we were talking about colors yesterday. And we were talking about how community is the essence of the different characters that play different roles and support each other in those roles. And we were noting that the colors in the chakra looked a lot like this chart that we were writing down. It was like that so and so is an individual that is really rooted in their root chakra, which is red, and so and so is really rooted in their heart chakra. Their color is green because they are transferring that energy of green, heart-centered love. Their service is love. So the color is the key to visual vibrations of intention. So I thought that was a good way of saying it's a visual vibration. So your color is a vibration that is also found in sound frequencies. It's again in all relative statements of what we're giving and receiving. So you're going to give a color, you're going to give an energy, you're going to give something, and then usually you can narrow those down to different frequencies, color codes, or energy. It's all vibrating. We're all just energy anyways. So the note that I put down was for me speaking to you as an intuitive or as a spiritual person or as a person who wants to start a business that is helping others or is in the healing arts. This is what this conversation is about today. And that said, there are certain people out there that I follow that talk a lot about shadow work. They get really deep and dark with your matter that's dissipating off you and how to get rid of that. And that's usually sometimes a dark, sad conversation. And a lot of times I was thinking about what color would I define a person who helps people shadow work, and that was black. And black isn't that it's uninviting, it's actually the absorption of all colors. So black to me represents the ground. In alchemy, black is actually what they call the black earth, is what I think alch, A-L-C-H, is the root word for the black earth. It's our matter, it's our earth self, it's this 3D physical body that we're sitting in. And so when people are doing counsel or things like that that's sometimes considered dark, you might want to consider making it more of a base statement, something that's a little bit rooted in the essence of black and white, or go the opposite direction and brighten the crap out of it and say, I do shadow work so that you can, boom, shift into white or the opposite of black, or whatever your key statement is, however you're communicating. It's got to be your tone and your visual vibration has to be similar. So when you're doing intuitive branding, consider what it is that you're doing. Another one that I want to talk about was people that do yoga. I have a beautiful friend on here who does amazing yoga body work and services in that. And sorry if I'm not waving at people. I don't know how to do this very well. I'm new to this life. So for yoga, I wanted to emphasize the root. Again, it's the red and the orange and the yellow, but I know you guys, yoga is full spectrum, but it's body movement. It's breath work. It's intuitive, meditative, full spectrum body work. But a lot of the selling point is sometimes rooted in your physical aspect of activities. So I would recommend oranges and reds for yogis, maybe gold or movement, or something high vibration, or something calming like pastel colors. There's a lot that you can do. It depends on, again, what do you want your vibration to be speaking? What is your brand going to say about everything that you are doing? What is your primary aspect of service? So I think for a yogi, I would focus on root energy. Like when you want to go and eat, people advertise with red. So when you want to go do yoga, I need to feel energized in my physical self. So I want to see possibly orange or gold or yellow or movement in my lower chakras, because it's physical. The other part was heart-centered intuitive work. So if you're going to be doing counsel, if you're going to be doing work that's just generating off of the feeling sense of love vibration, that is the chakra green. It's also expansive in our central station. So I believe that the heart-centered healing realm, that green is a really good color. Hi, Patty. So this is good. I'm talking about color. Patty Haller just joined me. She is a beautiful painter, and she shows over at Smith & Valley Gallery. So she's all about color. This woman knows color. Hi. So for the heart center, it's the earth. It's the green. It's your green chakra. It's the center point of your higher self and your lower self coming together into this unified central station, which is your heart. And the green is an element of love. And I know a lot of times we see a red heart, and that is kind of the rooted blood heart. But I think for the heart chakra, for intuitives that are doing that kind of work, it's not a bad idea to consider earth elements or to consider green. So that's another color. And hi, Gina. I have a meeting with her later. We're going to talk about your branding. So we have, the next part was, this goes into the rainbow. And this is something I was talking to with my niece, was the rainbow is your full spectrum, full service self. And I think a lot of intuitives say, well, I'm not just doing heart work, or I'm not just doing physical yoga. I'm doing full spectrum. I'm doing everything, and I'm giving it to the world, and I'm a light. And yes, you are. And as you want to give everything that you are, and you want to offer multiple services, which I had to narrow down what I'm doing, and what I'm doing is going to be art, alchemy, design, intuitive, joining of all these forces. But what I really wanted to say was, don't spread yourself out so thin that you can't be identified with a certain vibration of your core offering. So if you're going to be doing yoga, be yoga. If you're going to be doing counseling, be counsel. And then there's other aspects of you that you can branch out of in the tree that you are, and all the multiple colors that you are, and do subcategories after that. But in your primary branding, I think it's really important that we anchor in, what is your vibration color? What is it that you're doing? And what do people want to attune to immediately when they see you? Are they going to be like purple, female, pastels, gentle? Or am I going to be going back into the root, the red, the food, the physical self? So yes, we are full spectrum. Yes, we are rainbows. Some people can maybe master all spectrums of self and offer that into your business, and that's great. But I would encourage you to start with your core mastery of self. With my branding, I used a lot of what I would call spiritual, high vibe, feminine, because Rose Apple Sage was what I was seeking at that time, was to be my high vibe feminine self, and to speak my truth in this higher electric vibration. And it was based a lot of the visions I were having that were really graphic. So That's why I chose that for Rose Apple Sage. As for Title Design, I chose more of an orange gold gray because I wanted it to be multilingual for the masculine and the feminine. I don't feel like my design work is just limited to men or women or casinos or whatever it is that I've done in my career. It's something that I want to be absolutely full circle. So the next point is fonts. And fonts are really important because it's your graphic voice, the voice of written word. So it's when, my computer just shut down. It's when, I call it your voice. So if I'm going to say something in a bold serif font, then I'm going to be saying it with boom. I'm just going to say it loud. I'm going to say it proud, and it's going to be in your face. If I want to say something gentle like intuitive flow yoga, I'm probably going to want to use a script font. But in logo development and brand identity, you don't want to do script fonts. You don't want it to be so thin that when you're trying to make a hat or you're trying to produce it into different things or show it and have it show up better, sometimes script fonts or skinny fonts is going to get lost. So in your branding, not a bad idea to keep it bold and loud because you want to be noticed. So the voice of your written word. Make sure that your voice is spoken with integrity, and I think integrity is a really important part of branding yourself because we don't want you to say something that you aren't. So if you're going to show us a really bold graphic, but you're going to be the softest spoken person we've ever heard and the sweetest soul, but why are you yelling at us with your logo? So your voice is your integrity in who you are. So make sure that your voice is representing everything that you are and everything that your offerings are in your services. So make sure that you're careful about that. I was going to jump to the next point, but I think that people might not be familiar with font development or understand a lot about fonts, or maybe you do. The main point with fonts is that it's a voice. It's what you're reading, and when you read something, it's going to translate into a tone. Like when somebody texts you and they say something really short and they're quick about it, and you're like, dude, why are you being so rude? And they're not. They're just speaking firmly with their text, and you're not getting all the bubbles. Like Lucy May, you're amazing at giving hearts and emojis that make me feel you and know that you're giving me love, and and you're good at communicating visually with your emojis and your words. But for fonts, it's the same situation. It's like, what are you going to be saying and how are you saying it? And make sure that suits you. So for an intuitive branding font, focus on what do you sound like? When you can look, like write it out, take a sentence, use the font and use maybe 5 different fonts and just say it and look at it and say, my name is so-and-so and this is my service, and say it with the tone of the font, like literally read it. Because if I could say I don't have all my fonts in front of me, but if I use a bold one, my name is Eve and I am duh, or a softer one would be like, this is Eve and I am happy. So I'm going to be reading the font with different things. And then you could just start observing this wherever you go, in flyers, on billboards, in your graphics, with other people's posts. A lot of people that are doing coaching are using really scripty fonts because they want to be nice. They want to feel gentle. And I think that is good when you're saying gentle things. Stay gentle. If you're doing your branding, consider using a stronger script that's readable, because you don't want to use something that's too cursive-y. I can't read it. I don't even know what that said, but it looks pretty. I'm confused already. Why would I want to go ahead and proceed with your services? So you need to make sure that you're producing effective graphics immediately. And that's branding. That's why we're starting with branding, because it's something that a lot of us can get trip up on. And then it's the start of a conversation. It's when you meet somebody for the first time and you say, hello, how are you? Is your handshake firm? Do you have good eye contact? Do I want to continue talking to you? Do you have a weird odor? So what is your conversation? What is your font saying about you and your services? If you want to go and find cheap fonts, I've put down here to go to like Font Squirrel. It's a great place where you can just download free fonts all day long. And they have it branched down to like bold or script. I think they even have, I don't know what categories they have. They have a lot of cool categories. So fontsquirrel.com, you just download them. You go down to the bottom of your browser, you click it. You just go like show in folder. I use Apple. And I can track and pull that, and then you can save it to your font book and then categorize in your font book, this is my branding for my business. Just put your business name, categorize all the fonts that you're going to play with or whatever you want to do, and then have a final folder with the fonts that you use because you're going to be using those a lot. So once you find your 3 fonts, that's another thing I should have brought up earlier was 3 primary fonts, don't go over 3. So stay consistent. You could have your bold, you could have your descriptive text, and then you could have your emotional text, if you will. So just find 3 primary fonts and work with them and find a way for them to communicate together and play on each other. So, yeah, the other thing I put down was try lots of ideas before you commit. So if you're going to develop your brand, don't rush your font. Show it to people. Say it out loud. Again, speak your words. So write it down, print it out, look at it, say it. That's going to help you to identify if it's coming off weird, and just sit with it for a little bit. Sometimes I'll have 20 different fonts of the same logo and the same name, but in multiple different fonts, because each one says something so different every time you look at them. So observe that, and that'll help you define which one is saying what you are feeling and you're wanting to project as your brand. Okay, so this is a little bit off and a little extra, which was design basics. If you're able to do this yourself, I recommend Adobe Creative Suite. It's something you could just pay monthly. There's tutorials online, or you can take some classes if you are interested in doing your own graphics. If you can't do your own graphics, hire somebody like me or somebody that you know that can do graphics for you, but be aware of the things that I just mentioned when they are providing you with the concepts. So don't just say, this person created my brand and they know better because they're the designer. No, they don't. You know yourself. You know your brand. You are the brand, and nobody knows you better than yourself. Just like with health, just like with going to the doctor. Like, yes, you could say that I need to take this prescription to calm my nerves, but I'll rather do breath work because I know that works because I know myself. So same thing with your branding. If you hire somebody or you source it out, make sure that you are picky about your logo and that you are picky about the font, because you could be having a really bad first impression because that impression wasn't created by you, it was created by your designer. So make sure your designer and you are on the same page and that it's cohesive and that you make the final choice because you're the boss of your brand. So that was good. That was deep. I think I'm going to save the design basics for later because this is more about branding. So I'll get on later and talk about design principles. Again, this is just my overview. The other part that I really, really, really wanted to end with and tell you is my observation since I started doing research on marketing and offering services to my intuitive community, to the people that I love and support and follow and receive information from. I'm noticing a couple things that are happening with my community and why I felt led to be of service to you guys and to myself, because I'm working on merging this into my own services as well. So we're all working together. But the main thing I wanted to say was show up and show your face, because we are all reading each other constantly, and our faces and our personality and our voice is going to be what's going to define your services. So if if I've got 2 million people, sponsored ads, or all these people doing the same thing, what makes me want to choose you? And it's going to be your personality. It's going to be that you showed up, that I like your face, that I like what you're saying, and that I trust you because I know you're not a robot or you're not somebody that created this weird account and you're from a different country and I have no idea what I just got myself into. And I got roped in and now I'm upset that I made that purchase because the vibe isn't there. And if I would have just known that in the beginning and I would have gotten to know them because they showed up, it helps me want to work with you. So I think it's important not to hide. I think this is something I've talked about in the past, is that I did go through this revelation of understanding that we are being watched, we are being censored, we are being monitored through these digital devices, and that's something that we're going to have to accept and either allow or get off. So if you aren't okay with your voice being seen publicly or with being a public figure, it's probably not a good idea for you to be in a business where you need to be showing up. So right now, a lot of us are having to go digital. Hence why I'm on here right now, or why my daughters are on their computers for school today. So it's a matter of saying, I'm going to show up on this platform. I'm going to tell you who I am, what I do, and I'm going to be raw and authentic, because what are we supposed to cling on to and trust and want to click on your link and go to your website and call you and say, I really want you to help me with this because, or what you said hit me home and I want to work with you because. So I'm not seeing faces for some of you. I'm not seeing you guys being raw and authentic, and I don't know who you are. So your brand is also your face. It's also who you come to the table as. It's your handshake. It's your presentation. So if you are looking to be in the intuitive market or healing arts or tarot or yogi or whatever, like, let people know who you are. And it's okay if not everybody likes you. It's okay if you as a brand isn't liked by Joe Schmo from whatever place he came from. And if he doesn't like you initially, you probably are better off not working with them. If they like you, you vibe, that's going to be your tribe. That's who's going to be attracting you. So don't be afraid to show up. Don't be afraid to show your face. You are the brand as much as your logo. So be real, be raw, be here, be authentic, have integrity, and let your product match you. So be your product. Be your brand. Yes, if you want to message me and you want to say, I have some questions, can you just look at my logo? Can you look at my brand? Can you tell me what you think? If you want my opinion, ask me. Because something that I've learned in my industry is constructive criticism is key. If you want me to give you the truth and say it like it is, in my opinion and my professionalism of what I do, I would love to just give you free advice. Say, well, why did you choose that? Or this might be something that's affecting your return on investment with your time. Whatever I can do to help. So reach out, message me. I hope that you guys are doing well, that your pursuit in life is true to who you are, and that you are being colorful, that you are having integrity with everything that you do, and that your face never has to change, that you can always be yourself in your business, in your love life, in your social life, and in everything that you do. So thank you for chiming in with me with Rose Apple Sage, and I will continue these talks and live videos weekly and give you a new topic of something I think you guys might benefit from. Message me if you have any suggestions of what that might be. I will work on my Zoom call technique skills and responding to y'all, but for now, much
Work.